Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's Mo again. How's everybody doing today? Well, check this out. We're still working with managing Active Directory users and computers. Our last section from the console is working with group types. So we're going to be looking at actual groups. That's what we're going to be looking into. So check this out. Look what we're going to do over here. Let me actually go back to my server. So group objects, and let me go to tools and Active Directory users and computers. So watch this. Here's my domain. And normally, where do I put the actual groups? They're going to belong to each organizational unit. Now, what's the purpose of creating a group? It's ease of management, easier for administration. Imagine you want to send an email to 20 users. I create a group, I put the users in the group, and I email all those users. I want to assign permissions, right? Instead of assigning a permission to one user at a time, I create a group, I put the users in a group, and I delegate permission to the group. It could be NTFS permission, it could be delegation, and I'll show you that. So if I go to HR and look, remember there's HR and there's what? Sales. So let's say under the sales, I click on the two faces, which is a group, just like this, or I right click on sales and I do new and I choose group. See that? Just like this. So what I'm going to call this is SGRP dash security for SEC. Now, what does that mean? The type, it's either security or distribution, and we'll see what the difference is. I'm going to click OK. I'm going to create another group, all right, under the same organizational unit. And this time I'm going to call it SGRP, right? But this time dash DIS for distribution. I'm going to choose distribution. So these are the two types that we will see. Now, what is the difference between them? Well, anyway, first of all, I double click on the distribution and I go to members. And let's say we add S1 and S2, S1 and S2, right? So S1 and S2. And I go to the security group that I chose as security, and members are also S1 and S2. And I'm choosing S1. Then, okay, watch this. If I try to give control, something we're going to do in a moment. So when I right click on my domain and I choose delegate control, which means I'm trying to assign permissions, and I go next and add, let me see if I see both groups, right? So watch this. When I scroll down, do I see the SGRP? As GRP security, I don't see the distribution group, so I cannot assign permissions to a distribution group. This is one example. It's only for email messages, distribution groups. So if I open the folder here and I go, let's say, to my C drive, right? I create a folder, test. I want to share this folder and go properties, sharing, advanced sharing, and I want to go ahead and share this folder and go to permissions. Can I add the distribution group here? Let's take a look. Advanced, find now. And let's see. Look at this. I only see which group, the security group. I don't see the distribution group. See, I cannot assign permissions to a distribution group. Distribution group is only for mail messages. So that's the reason why I have security. Security is for permissions and mail messages, where distribution group is only for mail messages, just email messages. Well, take a look at this. That's the type of the groups. Well, if I go back, right, there's an actual scope. There's domain local, there's global, and there's universal. What is the difference between them? If I click on the two faces again, I can see that there's a by default it goes to global. What does a global group mean? Which means the members of this group can only be from the same domain. That's what a global group is. Let's say I had a child domain, right? Like what I had before, and I leave it as global. I cannot add users from that other domain in the same file. So global, that's why by default it stays on global, which means you only can add users from the same domain. You want to add users from another domain in the same forest, you do universal. If you have another forest, which is another organization, and there's a trust between them, then you do domain local. So that's the scope. But by default, you can always have it as global. That's most likely for security, but that's what the scope is. So basically, when we talk about groups, I'm just trying to make management much easier. So it's most likely for delegation of control, for permissions, that's security. And it also does email messages where distribution is only for email messages only. I cannot assign permissions to a distribution group. So that's most likely the console, right, of Active Directory users and computers, I would say so. So we're going to be going with a new section with a new topic to cover. So much more and more fun is about to come. So we'll see you folks later on. Okay. Bye, everyone.